Motorola has some of the best looking smartphones on the market for different price bracket, and the Motorola Moto Edge 50 Neo is no different. So it is the youngest of the Edge 50 series, so you have the Edge 50 Ultra, Edge 50 Pro, Edge 50 and Edge 50 Fusion. And of course we have the Moto Edge 50 Neo here, which just makes things a bit more complicated when it comes to the naming range. But that aside, this has a lot going for it. Let's start with the design. So as far as the design goes, this looks really nice in this red color. It looks really good, and this is a Pantone color. It's the Pantone Point Sienna. I hope I'm saying that right. But that side, it's got everything nice about it in terms of this nice vegan leather finishing on the back. Looks really good. It's available in other colors as well, like mocha and some other weird names that they've got going for it, but it looks good in red. And we look around the edges, and this is plastic finishing, and we've got the power button there, we've got the volume rocker there as well on the right side, and also a microphone there as well. And on the bottom we have our USB-C ports, a SIM card tray, and speaker and microphone there as well. So this has dual stereo speakers, and up top we have another microphone up there as well. So generally it looks really good all around, nicely balanced. It's got this nice slightly raised area when it comes to the camera area, but it kind of just flows into the rest of the design, so it looks really good. Over on the front we have a 6.4-inch POLED display that offers 460 ppi, it's 20:9, and it gives you 10 to 120 Hz LTPO refresh rate and 300 Hz touch sampling rate as well. So things feels very fluid, and it just works really well. It has 3000 nits of peak HDR brightness, so when it comes to using this in bright sunlight or even low light situations, this will work really well in those kind of scenarios. The front is also finished in Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so it's kind of resilient to scratches and all that stuff, and this is IP68 rated. So as you can see there, as far as mid-range goes for the title, this has a lot going for it already. Underneath all this, we have a MediaTek Dimensity 7300, 8GB of LPDDR4X RAM, and 256GB of internal storage, and this is running on Android 14 out of the box. You get 4310 mAh battery, and it supports 68 watts wired charging and 15 watt wireless charging. So again, for a mid-range device, which I keep drumming home, it has a really decent processor in there, decent amount of storage and RAM as well, to be able to run multiple applications at the same time, and also be able to store all your data in terms of photos, videos, and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of photos and videos, we have a 50 megapixel main camera, which is LYTIA 700C sensor, Sony sensor at f1.8 aperture. We have a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle, which gives you 120 degrees field of view at f2.2, and a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, which will give you 3 times optical zoom at f2.0 aperture as well. On the front, we are looking at 32 megapixel front facing camera at f2.4. Looking at the software is very fluid as well. There's no issues, like I said already. It doesn't feature many bloatware. It's got a few Motorola software applications on there, but that's just about it. That's not much going on there out of the box. So you can install everything that you want to install on there on your own accord. So no issues in that area. Going into settings, we can go into personalize, for example, which is where you can change your wallpaper. You can change the icon shape as well, the layouts, the sounds, and so on. So you can personalize it to make it your own, including the font as well. You can change that if you wish to do so. We go into the display settings. This is where you can change your brightness level as always. There's colors options available as well. So you got vivid, which makes things a little bit more saturated. So if that's not your vibe, you can always take it to neutral or natural, sorry. And your natural is great for photo editing, which means you won't be getting false colors when it comes to editing your photos to match the right color scheme. Going back out, we have our display refresh rate, which I talked about. We can have it in auto for smart optimization, or you can go for 60 Hz or go up to 120 Hz refresh. Obviously, going to 120 Hz means higher battery consumption, so that's something to bear in mind. And generally, we get some smart options as well. For example, you can do 3-finger screenshots option, which is available to you. And inside sound and vibration settings, we get option for Dolby Atmos. So we go into settings for this, which gives us option for things like spatial audio, smart audio, so you can set things up for music, movies, gaming, podcasts, or you can customize it to suit your preference. More gestures are also available in gesture settings, so you can see all the array of options available to you there. So do play around with those to see which one you really like. So for example, you can do the twist to capture thing, which has been around for Motorola for a long period of time. So you can do something like this, and that will load up the camera so you can start taking pictures and so on and so forth. So now that we're in the camera screen, we can talk about the user interface and what you get in here as well. So we have slow motion on the far left, and in slow motion we get option to choose different frame rates, so up to 240 frames per second there. We can tap down, change it right at the top, and we can change also the resolution, so full HD at 120 frames per second, which is not too shabby for a mid-range device. We go into video, we get option as well to change the resolution, so we got 4K there. We can change it to full HD if we wish to do so. Depending on which one you choose, that determines which frame rate you can go for. So at 4K, you can shoot at 30 frames per second. At full HD, you can shoot at 60 frames per second. We go into photo settings. We get option for 0.5 macros there as well. You get 1x, you get 2x, and 3x optical zoom. As always, you can change different aspect ratio as well. And then we go into portrait. Portrait mode allows you to choose different ranges as well. 24 to 35, 50, and 85. 85 is going to be the best one because it just gives you better bokeh and you get closer to your subject as well. Then we get pro settings, which allows you to do things yourself. So things like shutter speed, the ISO, and white balance. We get to more. We get things like night vision, photo booth, ultra resolution, so you can shoot at the full 50 frames, 50 megapixels, sorry, so you can shoot in that full resolution there if you wish to do so. And in reality, when it comes to the display, it looks really good in terms of how sharp it is, how bright it is. The blacks look good thanks to that POLED display, and the saturation looks good as well, depending on which display settings you have. So you can have different levels of saturation like vivid and so on and so forth. But in terms of display, there's no issues there at all. And for those who are interested in Geekbench score, this is Geekbench 6, which gives you this score here for the MediaTek Dimensity 7300. So not too shabby again for a mid-range device. So is the Motorola Edge 50 Neo worth it? I think it's worth the price tag. It's $329.99 right now at this point of this review. But I will say that there are other options available as well, like Nothing Phone 2A, which offers slightly upgraded processing chip from MediaTek and also offers a slightly bigger battery at cheaper price point to the Motorola. So that's something to bear in mind. Although this has come in a nicer color, but the Nothing Phone 2A does offer that glyph interface on the back, so something unique about that device. With this one, the photos look great, they're not too bad, but the moment you start to realize that the issue there would be low light situations where you don't really get good photos. The zoom isn't that great as well, so that's something to bear in mind, and generally photos just look a bit over-processed rather than something that's really good. So that's something to bear in mind versus, say, the Nothing Phone 2A. So when it comes to the price point and what you're getting for your money, yes, it's worth it, but there are other options available as well that could offer slightly better advantage over the Motorola Edge 50 Neo. But this looks really good and it's nice and slick, nice and slim. It looks great. Battery life isn't too bad as well. This is 4,310 mAh battery. Fast charge is available as well. The battery was lasting me a day. Just about, unless I do a lot more than I normally do on my phone, then I might struggle a little bit. But there's fast charge there to top me up very quickly, and off I go again. The processing power is decent as well. It's not the best on the market, but it still offers you a fluid experience when using the device. The areas where you might realize the processor isn't a flagship processor, because obviously this is a mid-range device, is when you start taking photos, things like shutter lag, things like processing time for your photos are just a bit longer than normal. So that's something to bear in mind. But when it does come to your gaming, it's fully capable of your gaming experience. You can play Call of Duty on here with no issues at all. So if you want to do some casual gaming, this is also capable of doing just that. So overall, decent phone. Price point, decent as well, although there are, like I said, alternatives out there that you can go for in the phone like Nothing Phone 2A or even the Google Pixel 8a as well that's on the market right now. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, drop them there as always. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe.